Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Cheplak Live podcast, where the number one thing I am focused on is bringing it to you from the trenches, from leaders that are tested and proven, no theory. And today I have my great friend, Cheplak Live coach, and a superstar team leader who's built a team doing over 550 million. Zandra, thank you for taking your time to chat today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
So let's jump in. I think the big question here, we're in August of 2023, because the cool thing about a podcast and video is that people revisit them years down the path. But, we're in this changing marketplace, and I know everyone wants to hear about that. But I think what's really important is the impactful leader you have been, the business that you have built, being a wife and a mother and living life and like Brittany calls it, spinning plates the way you do, but this business that is one of the top businesses in the nation, one of the top team leaders in the nation. So take us back historically on your journey in real estate up to where the business is today.
Yeah. So, for me, I like to always start with the focus of we all started in the same place. It's what we did in between that got us to where we're at today. And that's what I love to remind everyone is that when you are taking the time to be here, to invest in listening to somebody else's story, because everybody has a story, right? You got to remember that. Look, take away all the shiny objects, the accolades, and everything that came because of that consistent hard work. And remember that we are all living the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I've officially celebrated my 10th year in real estate full time, meaning I still don't sleep. And I have been so blessed to learn along the way about myself, about what other people want versus what they do, and how to really help equip the leadership in every person who crosses my path.
What when you started in real estate, what did you do in your first couple of years to generate business for you? How did that work? Did you
Every
start a team
yeah.
or an individual? What did you do?
Yeah, I really wanted to earn the title as a team leader. So when I went and started in 2013, I had a 6 month old and I had a 3.5 year old. And my first why was to prove to my husband at that time that I can do it, that I wasn't just a working mom or another, mother who had a dream to get out of the house and not only cook and clean and do all the standard domesticated stuff. Now I still do it. Okay, just with some help, but I still do it. And when I first started, I told myself I wanted to earn the team leader title. It was a privilege to be able to lead people. So I was a solo agent for 3 years, and my success went from 6 transactions my first year to 42 transactions my second year, and to over 65 transactions my third year by myself with just a TC. And that's when I realized, okay, my threshold was 65 and I did not want to die of exhaustion. So I then became a team leader and have built from that point on. So 2016 until now, I just celebrated again my 7th year as a team leader, and we've stayed top 1% all 7 years.
Wow. Take us through your hiring, because everyone's been different. I mean, there's some people, they hire an admin, some hire a transaction coordinator first, some hire an ISA first. Talk about the progression of staff hiring. Did you load up on staff first, or did you get agents first with a very skeleton staff? Talk about your progression of growth with bringing agents on and staff.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I actually have that common question often. So the first 3 years, it was just one TC for the first 3 years in itself, of going from 3 agents to 7 agents to, by the third year, I was at 21 agents. And again, I was trying to continue to teach in the trenches that once you have that success, everyone says, oh, well, the money's flowing in, so I can just go afford somebody. Just because you can afford them doesn't mean that you should go out and spend that money on that task, especially if you have gotten down your SOPs and your non-negotiables that you're like, wow, I know that I can delegate it off. But if you stop to think about, are you going to spend more time teaching, training, and checking versus just doing and then scaling the harder stuff. And I followed by the red, yellow, green system. Red is only I could do it. Yellow meant that somebody else can start it, but it required my blessing to keep moving forward. And then green was like, I really don't care. Just get it done and we're good. And it's at least done is done. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I really try to teach the agent partners that once they get to around 25 to 35 transactions, if they're not really dialing into their non-negotiables, their standard, you know what to do at this time of the day, before, during, and after all the chaos of family and rest and relaxation and desires, then you haven't earned the opportunity to hire help yet.
Very good. Let's talk about this one because I love it. And you and I have chatted about it because the one thing certainly Cheplak's always recruit, recruit, recruit. But it's not the one way. I mean, the ultimate thing is surrounding yourself with great talent. And the one thing that I acknowledge and you have really stayed true to is you were very magnetic, if you will. I mean, everyone has to have a level of magnetism to be a recruiter. But the difference is yours wasn't as much of a grind, 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 chase people down. It was very much by attraction. And many people struggle with that. How would you go back and say, you know what, this is how I did that. This is what I did in the marketplace. And this is how I was able to attract people to my vision and my organization.
I loved my agents as they asked me to, and how I was supposed to in my leadership. That tough mama love. Everyone calls me Mama Z for a reason. And I tell them, look, just like your closest relationships as a female leader in your life, first I would ask the males, are you intimidated by a female? That was my first question. And it sounds silly because I would tell them, there's a difference
Right.
from me intimidating you and you being intimidated by me. And if you want to talk about that, let's talk about that now. Let's meet your wife. Let's talk to your mama. I don't care what issues you have. I just need to make sure that you're not going to be intimidated by your lady leader. And it actually really brought humor. It brought people to say, oh man, okay, let me just lower my wall, and get comfortable. And I would say, it's a privilege to lead you, but remember, the partnership is 100%, 100%. And when you're not 100%, I'll fill in for you. But just because I have the privilege to lead you, I still need you to understand the way I lead is one hand up, pulling us forward, and one hand down, making sure you're coming with me, right? And then when I'm not coming with you, because maybe I'm at, I'm human. I'm not at a place in my business to want to grow and want to be creative. I might be tired. I need you to hold me up. I need you to bring me up to your level, because if I'm the one constantly building and making you better, but you're not challenging me, then how is that a true partnership?
Wow, really good. I want to point something out that you just mentioned there. And so many people make the mistake, Zandra, is that she didn't treat her agents like a customer. She treated them like a business partner. And both are fully invested in the relationship. But the other thing too is, as strong as Zandra is as a leader, is notice the humility, vulnerability, and transparency in that. And that's how, and because one of the things I know that not everyone knows that's listening to this or watching it is that over time you've had deep long-term relationships with people that have stayed with you because of that. So really, really good. When you came out of the gates in building the team, were you prospecting? I know you are a hunter, but when you started looking at, okay, I'm bringing other people in, did you, certainly there was work ethic required. Was it prospecting based, or is it, you're going to prospect, but these are the lead sources that we went out to? When did you get into the online lead game? What were the first online leads that you went after, and how have you done in that space?
Yeah, I mean, just like most people, as business owners, we try to go after the low-hanging fruit just naturally. Organically, we're like, okay, who can help us get us there, right? And we all know, as being an entrepreneur, I don't consider myself a realtor. I'm a business owner. I own multiple businesses. I lead people in directions, and we actually even have something called Beyond the Business, where if you're tired of doing what I did the first 3 years, which was call 6 hours a day, 6 hours a day. That's how I went from 6 to 42 to 65, because I did what everybody else wasn't doing. And so, yes, in the years of progression and leadership, I've realized that they're still not going to do it. It doesn't matter how much you tell them it works, they're still not going to do it. And so when I attract agents, first of all, my agents are the ones who are attracting other agents for me. We solely like to focus on the transactions first. We ask the agents how their transaction went with said other agent, the closing partner, and would they consider working with them as a business partner on our team. So we start there. And we send thank yous. We send champagne when they close to the other side of the transaction. That's my leadership, because I appreciate that I might have not been knee deep with them in the transaction. I was still hiding in the trenches. I made sure no bombs went off and that everybody survived. And so I allow, literally, like analogy full on, I got war paint on, okay? It's on. It's really, the agents are attracting the other agents. And in the reversed, you have agents who just don't want to work with the top team because they automatically assume that Mama Z, the queen bee of Team Z, is probably, not the nicest, and there's no way she's actually real like that. And I'm like, you guys, I don't have any time to try to remember who I'm supposed to be. I need to be me. So that authenticity has really helped, and I like to be vulnerable. I like to let people know that I'm having a rough day, but I'll tell you right now, coach, you mess with my Cubs, you're going to hear Mama Bear. Mama Bear will come out with paws facing forward, and I might shave my nails down a little bit depending on how you respond to me, but
Oh my
you're going to
gosh.
know I'm here.
Oh, that is so good. Really, really good. What if you're looking at the the one thing I've watched of you over the years is investing, lifelong learner. First time we met was in Las Vegas at an event, and you're right
Yes.
there, lifelong learner. And I don't know that I've ever given you this feedback or shared this. You're constantly learning and probing and reaching out to people. But here's the one thing that I think where you can really give some people advice is you show up humble, you show up with curiosity, but in the end, what I've watched you do is say, okay, I'm gathering this information, but, and it's proven, but I'm just going to do it this way. I mean, most times you say, hey, don't tweak it. But I think the one thing I've watched you do, correct me if I'm wrong, is like you've got all the resource and certainly have garnered this great respect, but you see other people doing things really, really well. But you always come back though too and go, but you know something, based on my culture, my principles, here's what I'm going to do. Is that a fair observation from
Oh,
information gathering?
absolutely. And to honestly, to go back to your last question, I didn't really answer it because that's just what I do. I have all these tabs open. My first actual investment was Zillow. What I was trying to tell you is that low hanging fruit. And so I did it individually, but I built systems where when the opportunity where Zillow was looking for a new partnership in San Diego, I had the systems proven that I earned that opportunity. And that's what got us to get to our great success in 2021 of $559 million with 40 agents. I can tell you right now that I would do that all over again, but I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying to you because I was a robot, and it made me realize, to just go back into your question, is that I am learning all the time and I am looking at what everybody else is doing. And just before I started with you 3 years ago, a little bit over 3 years ago, understand I was 7 years in this. I never had a coach, not because I was too good, but because I was like, okay, they're doing it great and he's doing it wonderful. And now how can I go be me? And how can I try to build something I actually believe in, that I can actually be realistic? And I'm not realistic. I've broken some really high glass ceilings, but I'm a realist. And I want to make sure that I don't overexhaust myself, where then after time and all of this and how you see me, I do step and repeat and pivot and try it again. But I'll never tell someone not to try it themselves. That's one thing I believe in, because I will tell them, you can either learn from me and you can ride my coattail, or you can go try to learn it yourself, prove me wrong, to come back to tell me you might have known what you've done for yourself, Z. So I'm not going to tell you I told you so, but I'm going to wink at you. I'm going to keep moving forward. That's what we're gonna do. So, and to end with that, just what your statement is, my agents every day teach me how to operate in a different level and mindset of grace, of uncertainty sometimes. That fear is good. Fear is actually really good because that's pushing me to go after the uncomfortable no. And then there's the reality. And I asked them, what are you going to do differently? If I don't put you on a 30-day probation period today, what are you really going to do differently you haven't done for me in the past 120 days? Let's go there, right?
Yeah,
I love you enough to let you go.
yeah,
That's the truth.
really good. And that's what's required right now more than ever. I mean, the people that are succeeding right now are holding people to account to standards. Talk about this one because it's always a journey. I mean, if we wanted to get high engagement on a post, we could go into a group of team leaders and say, ISAs or no ISAs, and so people are always curious. Talk about your journey through the ISA department when you haven't had them, when you have had them, where you're at right now. Talk about that part of the business for you, because
Sure.
there's no right answer there. There's the answer that works for that team leader.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really depends on everyone, right? It's like, how much time do you want to give? Because it's a separate department. So, as much as you're giving the leadership to the individual agent, you need to make sure that you either have the leadership in place to direct the ISA with the SOPs and the expectations and being able to adjust constantly adjust. Your pulse has to be on that. You got to find the cancer before it spreads. I'm sorry to use that analogy, but I'm telling you right now, you got one person who thinks that they're the best and they're making all these bookings, and we're dropping appointments into agents' calendars because they're putting that in the calendar of availability. You want to know what happens when you just have the ISA, which, to answer your question, is yes to ISAs. I've had them for 2 years and I will never not have them again because I can appreciate the effort. I can appreciate that, one, you have the agent who appreciates that you're trying to fill their calendar. So that's a part of the partnership. Nothing promised, but earned. Two, in the opposite perspective, you fill their calendar, and that potential client, right? Because everybody is a client once they got a phone number and name, which is not the case. And
Right.
then you set up your top team partners with all these appointments and you have no shows. You want to know what that's going to do? That's going to give you the opposite of, yeah, you are here to help me succeed. You're wasting my time. What are you doing? Are you even vetting these? Does your ISA even know what you're doing? And they're not questioning you because they question your authority. They question your intention. Are you just trying to keep me busy? Are you trying to, make me stick to a calendar? Yes, but what, to keep me busy? So I've seen it happen where it's positive and or the negative, and if you don't have your pulse on it, always finding out what you could do better, then don't even start, honestly. And it's a full commitment.
Yeah, it's always a wild environment in the ISA department. The stories are great, aren't they ever? How about uh what would you say has been the toughest part of leadership over the years in
Whew.
scaling the business? Would you say it's more, well, let me go this one. I'll throw it one of the two. Is it the science of the business, or do you think it's been more of the art of the relationships of bringing on leadership, developing leadership, and trying to retain people on the leadership staff?
So, everybody was doing phenomenal, 2020 till 2022, right? Everybody was winning and everybody was
We were all rich.
spending and everybody was just living life and not answering their phones. Well, the hardest part in all of this is the latter, which is the relationship part. Now more than ever, even though I am a huge empath, even though I take on other energy, I wish I didn't have to, but I'm welcome to, in the right sense. Um, it's really hard to separate friendships and business and relationships. And, I will tell you, the past 2 years, when everybody has been winning, it's easy to get along with people. It's easy, right? But I have lost top performers who've also been friends of mine for over 19 years, who joined my team in the last 5 to 7 years. I just transitioned three partners who have been with me for 5 to 7 years. And why? When you put as a level of healthy boundaries and expectations, but yet you showed them everything that works, I like to remind everyone, and you hear that saying, your ego is not your amigo. Well, at the same time, I can appreciate that when I do have an ego, I have a friend and a business partner that can say, hey, Z, just want to let you know, right? I'm here to help you build. I'm here to help you grow. You're doing it for me. I want to reciprocate your leadership. And I just want to let you know, like, you're not really sounding very um relatable, right? You're not
Very good.
sounding
Very
you like
relatable.
that, relatable. You're not sounding humble. Z, you
I'm
can't
going
say
to
the
use
word
that with
humble.
Brittany. Z, I'm going to use that with Brittany. Honey, you're not sounding very relatable right now.
You like that? You're welcome.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm really good with very aggressive words, but being really nice. That my smile is like, I don't know what you mean. Do you want me to say yes? Do you want me to say no? But it's a talent, just spend about
Sure.
20 minutes a day, you guys. I'm practicing that. But I love being coached. I am so coachable because I don't know it all. And the minute I do think that, I'm done. I might as well just step out of leadership because I'm here because I wasn't led the way that I wanted to be. So I want to lead the way I need to be. And if I'm not constantly changing my mindset, my perspective, letting go of childhood traumas of, oh, I'm taking care of people because I feel no one took care of me, BS, even though it's validated, it cannot have a place in the way that I love and lead. And one thing that I will tell you is when I'm not relatable, I'm absolutely unapologetic. I love who I am. I love who I'm becoming, and I can't wait to meet who I will be in the future because all of these challenges, my heart is broken. As we speak right now, coach, you know it. My heart is broken. But you want to know something? In that heart that's broken and there's cracks everywhere, I'm finding the little things that are sand that fill me up to be whole again. And when I operate from that place of brokenness, I get to understand people who are true and real, who aren't telling me what I want to hear, who aren't expecting me to show up beyond being a human and not being a robot. I care. And although that's my biggest challenge and weakness, I will never change who I am. My love has led this entire team to success, and I will continue to lead my community through that very same way.
So good. So good. And so many need to hear that because that's the challenge is so many people are on their heels in a changing time in leadership and it's easy to let go of who you are, what you do, and what you stand for as you go through those things. I mean, what got you here will get you there, your principles. That's the one thing I've
Yep.
watched you do is stick with your principles. Not easy. Talk about as the market shifted, how have you shifted in leading people? Have you become tougher with standards? Have you been tougher with expectations of agents, of staff? What are you doing strategically to battle your way through this market and have a hell of a year, as a matter of fact?
Yeah, and it's been great. We're almost at 300 units ratified for the year. And so in a market, if it's like San Diego market, we all know it's the most competitive and no one
Yeah.
wants to leave the sunshine state, right? Like no one wants to leave. So even if I have a client, which is over like 100 that want to sell, there's nowhere to go. So what we're really doing is we are completely dialing in with our Slack in the communication where when we go out to talk to potential sellers or buyers, we leverage each other, right? Where some teams, even though we understand we operate that the agent next to you that's sitting in the same training room and at the same table as you who've earned that seat, they are your competition. And my challenge to everyone is if I go on an appointment after you or before you, the same listing appointment, who's going to get it? And if you think it's going to be me, you got work to do because I'm here to make you better, not make you me, but make you better. So if you can't beat me, we got a lot of work to do. Let's go. And so I'm holding them to it. They have the ability. They have all the template of our teams, listing agreement, buyer's agreement. They have all the templates of coming soon, our Slack. We post, a client need. And when we go to listing, we open that Slack in front of a potential prospect and say, look at all of our needs. Let's find out. You don't have just one agent, you have 50 agents. So we really leverage the team. And like I said, although the person next to us is completely our competition, we're actually not in competition with each other. And this is why my retention rate is so high and why we have the culture and the respect where our agents show up on our once a month potlucks to celebrate the birthdays of that month. And They want to get better. But I also know that a lot of people are operating from a place of limited abundance financially. Mental support, relationships are really hard right now because just in general, there's pressure at people's companies. And even though someone has a 7 to 4 solid job, people are expected to do more than what their daily is. And so I believe that the number one need that I continue to push in, and what's a part of our SOP too, is when you walk into the office, you're absolutely welcome to come as you are, but do not expect to remain the same. So leave it at the door. You got
Mm, mhm,
2
mhm.
mats on the floor, and that mat says Team Z. Step all over it, right? Step all over it, but step on it. Step on it, and you release that there and step over your excuses and the negativity and step into your future.
Mm.
Our mats on our floor are more than just collecting dirt. They're collecting feelings and emotions and excuses and I can't. All of the limited beliefs that they walk in with, you are not allowed to walk literally into my office with that mindset. I don't need it. It's not wanted. Go home. I'll see you later. Bye.
So
Not
good.
happening.
It's so good.
I will sage your ass all day long.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just saying.
We're gonna smudge the room. I love it. So good.
Yeah.
Let me and thank you so much. This is so good. I'm gonna go into something that's really impressive to me. And I think to I don't care men or women because it's capacity and it's leadership. How do you pull off? And I'm sure you're asked it all the time. Um, your family's number one. I mean, I've watched over the years I've known you, closeness to parent to father, your children, and how do you pull that off? Running this business as this um, CEO, entrepreneur, women in a bloodbath of a competitive market and just crushing it. Yet being that mama to the babies and participating in all of that. Talk to us about that.
Well, first and foremost, I wake up believing that my worst day was yesterday. That's what I believe. No matter how good it was worse yesterday. So today's going to be even better. It starts with mindset. It's the affirmation that today will be a great day because I control it. You have a chance and then you have the choice. I make a choice every day that no matter now mine, both my parents are facing cancer right now. Mind, I've been thrown into a lawsuit that has nothing to do with me this past year. Mind, my everyday service animal went paralyzed a year ago yesterday, was with me every day. Mind, I have growing children, 14, 11, and 5. But see, what I will tell you is I know exactly where my time is going. My calendar is made in advance, a month in advance, every single month. I know my standard operating procedures and what time I need to wake up, what time I need to leave my home. And it sounds psycho, but you want to know something? I have 3 non-negotiables done every single day that I know that it's not just personal. Oh, make sure to wash my hair. These are things that will move needles, right? And I may not wash my hair because, time, but that's not the question. And so the reality is that okay, so if I have 3 things a day done 5 days a week, because nope, my weekends are my children. I am raising beautiful human beings and they deserve a mother. They deserve somebody who is absolutely present. And no, I will not show you a home on the weekend. And if you don't want to work with me, then that's fine. But I have built a phenomenal team that has been led by me, and they're perfectly capable and able and qualified. So would you like to work with me? Great. Okay, wonderful. We got that straight. Now, 3 non-negotiables a day, that's 15 a week, right? 15 a week, which equates to 70 non-negotiables done every single month, right?
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is you have 720 things done in a year. Most people can't even get 72 things done, yet alone 720. I can show you 7 years of calendars of my time blocking for 7 years. No one can tell me otherwise. I will open my calendar and you'll know this time last year what exactly I was doing, how I was feeling, what I did and what I didn't do. So I'm very intentional with my time. And this is how I maximize. Now, do I have some BS time in between? Yes, I do, because I have to also pay attention to how I'm feeling. If I'm operating half empty, I can't. And I tell the team, hey, I'm going to need grace this morning. When I ask for that, they respect me. They respect that I acknowledge that I'm not really operating the let's get today going operation. Give me my moment. Let me have some time. All right, let's go. Thanks again for your grace, you guys. Let's do this because I'm human. And when you are vulnerable with people, then it makes sense.
Power. That's what you're getting in the time we spent together today is humility, vulnerability, transparency, and weak. And that's where you step into your true power, your true
Yes.
power. Well, what is, going into the next 12 months, and what's one thing that you would, because I'm looking at, we're darn near that time frame where everything we do is going, I mean, everything we do does impact 2024, but we start getting into October, and I mean, it's just around the corner. We've got to look at 2024. What would you say to both team leaders and agents right now as they're looking into 2024 to absolutely focus on and be just unapologetically non-negotiable about in their business?
Well, one, my math was wrong. It's 60 non-negotiables done in a month. So I needed to make sure I cleared that up. Okay. Because I was
Okay.
like, wait, that doesn't sound right. Okay. Second thing is everyone, for those of you who are leading even one person, which you are all leaders. You're leading at least a TC. 99% of agents are leading with a TC. Don't forget to show your appreciation. The words of affirmation part is so important. We get so lost in the transaction, we get so lost in the client, and we forget, if you lose that help, what is that going to do? It's going to throw you off, and you're not going to be able to even operate in a mindset that I can do this. And when you allow that part, that is so easy to become an option. The minute someone becomes an option, you do not deserve them. You need to slow down in that moment and show people beyond. I'm not talking monetarily. I'm not talking buying them things. I'm talking about, hey, you want a coffee? Hey, I'm going to pick up something to eat. Would you like something? The simplest things, people will stay with you if you just stop in the moment and remind them that you appreciate that you're not doing it alone, and because they appreciate it too. They appreciate that they're not doing life by themselves and you are their partner. So for those of you who are leading, I know it's hard. I'm in the trenches with you, but the most responsible thing that I did this year when the market shifted was I decided to put my cap back on. My cap at this point is let's do this, let's play ball. I'll decide if I'm going to be the batter, the runner. I'll decide if I'm sitting on the bench. Okay? I will decide that. But most importantly, be unapologetic who you are, but just please operate from a place of humility, because it's for me, I know that I get in the moment and I'm like, let's just go and let's just do things. Not everybody operates from that, like, it's okay, it happened, let's keep going. Stop and have uncomfortable conversations. If you're feeling just a little bit that you might lose someone, just ask. Just ask the question, because either they're going to stay or they're going to go, and you might as well get the truth.
That's really good. Move towards the truth. Always the relentless pursuit of the truth. Really good. Zandra, love you. I appreciate you. You inspire me in all that you do, and I'm better because of our relationship. Thank you so much.
Thank you for always being there for me. You're absolutely priceless.